Hello and welcome to a scene for Rage Across New York plus the Mage venue. Alicia is introducing Jericho to Naja Gahiji to try and balance out the view he may have got of the kinfolk already. And also to expand his understanding of what has been offered. So she will have dropped by to visit Naja and discussed meeting at a cafe near, but not in Central Park. And it'll be a baby friendly cafe. And Alicia will be sat there at the table, slightly nervous, wondering if Jericho's actually going to show up, because she's a little bit worried he will have been absolutely terrified by whatever might have been told to him.
Naja will arrive with a large stroller with 2 seats for 2 children. She will look around, spot Alicia, find 2 of those little wooden high chairs that restaurants always seem to have. Drag them over to the table with one arm while pushing the stroller with the other.
Alicia will actually get up to help her with the high chairs.
Oh, thank you. I'm so used to doing things for myself.
That's okay. I mean, sometimes it's easier if there's 2 people.
Yes, it is. And she will step back and actually let Alicia help her.
Alicia will, not exactly knowing what to do otherwise, will just kind of put the chairs next to the table, moving one of the normal chairs out the way so that they can kind of sit side by side. And
Naja,
stand there a little bit awkwardly, waiting to see if Naja does what Naja does next.
Naja will take the babies from the stroller and kind of fold it, collapse it, and lean it up against the wall near the table. After taking the babies out and securing them in the little high chairs, she has a large bag with giraffes and lions printed on it, slung over one shoulder. That will come off of her shoulder, sit on the table as she takes the seat herself. So, we are meeting your boy.
Hopefully, if he hasn't been too terrified.
Hopefully. Yes, hopefully. I cannot say from what you have told me that this may not terrify him. And she points to the 2 children.
That is a very good point. When I told him I had something serious to discuss, the first question it did come to mind while I was kind of being a bit awkward and figuring out how to bring up the whole fact that the people want to, force him to change, or do other things. He thought I might be about to say that I was late or something, and I'm like,
Oh, did you tell him that in person? Because they have the most magnificent face when you tell them that. The eyes, they go big as dinner plates.
I was talking to him in person, but obviously I'm not, so that's not the issue.
Oh, it is a beautiful thing.
I think I think he was joking when he asked, but then whilst I did say no, it's not that, I think he quickly realised that it was kind of more serious.
Yes. If you had children with him, I think they would accept him more quickly.
Quite possibly. I don't know. It just seems frustrating that so many people are quite able to do whatever they like, but because it's me, everyone has to chip in.
Well, yes, that's a little what it's like being a kinfolk. Well, until or unless you have someone there who is responsible for you. At least in my experience. There's
Which
always
must
someone
be
watching us.
highly frustrating.
Yeah, there is always someone watching us, mostly for our own safety. But sometimes they question why you do what you do.
Oh, I very much know that feeling.
That is part of the reason why when, well, when the babies were born and Aaron came here, I did not move into a set. I had children at the time, so they would know I had a mate. But they would not see my mate. They would question if he existed or not. And they might try to force another one on me.
That's just wrong.
It is. And if there was a problem, Aaron could be there as quickly as I could call him to come. But I would
I
rather
mean,
avoid that problem.
it's bad enough arranging. I mean, you guys seem happy enough, but arranging marriages is one thing. Forcing people into them is another. I mean, if the people don't want, don't accept it, they shouldn't have to.
Mm. I think I've told you this earlier, but that is why we moved with my uncle after my father died. My mother does not want another husband. She felt her husband died, and it would be unfaithful to him to be with another. Well, unfaithful to his spirit, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, do you want something to drink, by the way?
Um, I will just have a water. I have the babies with me. And maybe some juice for them. Do they have juice here?
They should do.
If not, milk will be okay.
Okay, I will be right back. And Alicia will pop off to go and get some juice. And
Hello. Jericho sits at the table.
Hello. You are the boy.
I am Jack.
Ha! Jack.
Mm-hmm. Let me arrange the conversation so that we can have some more privacy. Right. Spending a point of willpower. do, Alicia will find that it takes a little bit longer than she would like to actually find the water and juice, as seemingly chaotic instances bar her from actually getting said items. Just delay her for about just a few more minutes, just so that Jericho can have a more private conversation for a few seconds.
Yep, spilled the straws all over the floor. Have to pick them up.
You call me her boy.
Yes. She is fond of you.
She is fond of me, but her mentor hates me with a passion.
Ha! And?
And her mentor would want me to become a part of the family as quick as possible. And I find that way, way too short of a time schedule to make that kind of a commitment.
So, the quickest way to become a part of the family? Children with her. Get her pregnant. If you want to become a part of the family, they will have to accept you then. Especially if your children are kin.
I can imagine myself having that kind of relationship. I can imagine myself having children with her maybe in 1 or 2 years. But right now, that's much too quick. I barely know the woman.
Yes, it is much too quick. Even an arranged marriage, like mine, it was much too quick. 2 months, she said.
Mm.
It took me twice that to really get to know my husband. You've met him, I think.
You may have to remind me of that name then.
His name is Mrs Gahiji.
Yes, I've met the man.
So, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you know about Erin, what kind of life do you think I have with him?
Well, to be quite honest, I never knew that he had a wife until Alicia started to make mention of your existence. And correction on that part. Her, as well as himself, just a few nights ago, I sort of asked him to get in touch with his family because I thought that'd be a good influence on him, looking towards the kids. I did not know that he was so prolific, I should say. What are the names?
The boy is Akil, and the girl is Vanya.
Hmm. One of them will break their legs, one of them will break their heart, one of them will cry, one of them will scream. Guess which one?
Vanya is the crier. Akil is the screamer. He will have his heart broken.
Hmm.
She will break her leg. She is reckless. She's already trying to walk on her own.
Now, before you knew your husband, could you ever imagine having these kinds of children? I mean, they're wonderful, they're precious little gifts. But were you ready for that kind of commitment beforehand?
I thought I was. I was not quite prepared for it. Nothing turned out quite what I expected it to. And I grew up knowing what I was. Grew up knowing about my people. I grew up knowing about the Garo. I expected to become one of them, actually. That was a rather rude awakening on my part. But
Mm-hmm.
these two, for the past year and a half, have been my whole world. Everything I do is for them. Everything I do is for them. And I do it on my own, because Aaron cannot always be with me. Because he's a child. We are wanderers. We are We are like the gypsies of the old tales, cursed to wander the earth, with no homeland to call our own. Fair enough, you could call us gypsies. But that does not mean that it is an unfulfilling life. These two may live to see us have our home again. They may be a part of us having our home again. Maybe they will help us find a home someplace else. I cannot see their future, and I would not want to. I want them to grow up thinking that they have doors open for them. And when a door closes, a window will open, or a door can be broken down. Her mentor. That is a door you can break down, Jericho. Jack.
Yeah. Tap, 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 tap. Look. Like I said, I don't come from that culture. At least, I know a few people that have come from that culture, of arranged marriages, of vast Hindu philosophies in the subculture. Hell, I'm going to talk to that mad Indian man one of these days. Aren't you different? Aren't you... What is the relationship between you and Aaron? What is it?
He is my husband. What do you expect? When we are together. Oh. Before we had the children, when we were together all the time. He could always outrun me, but he would match my speed, so I did not get left behind. Do you understand that? What I'm saying?
Oh, no, no, no. I understand that. If something were to happen to Aaron, what would happen to you? What would happen to your children?
If something were to happen to Aaron, my children would be cared for. And I think I would do what my mother did when something happened to my father. I would track down my brother and I would move with him, because I would not want to take another mate. It would
Interesting.
be disrespectful and unfaithful to the spirit of my departed husband. I'll keep him safe. That will never happen.
What if you decided that the relationship that you had with Aaron was, for whatever reason, took a turn for the worst?
Was not working? Well, in what sense do you think take a turn for the worse?
As in, one day he got frustrated and struck out in anger, and he didn't stop. It just became a habit for him.
You mean if he became abusive?
Mm-hmm.
If he became abusive, I would ask the elders to intervene. That is the first step. The elder failed to intervene, or if her intervention fails to produce the results, then I would have to take matters into my own hands. As I said, I grew up in this world. I may not be able in combat to match a Garo without getting seriously injured or worse. There are other ways to put them down if necessary.
Okay. And what should happen to you and Aaron? What will happen to your children then?
That I do not know. will just have to have faith that the spirits would watch over them. But Aaron would watch over us. But I would likely, if that were the case, I would likely be killed.
Why is that? Why such a fatal end?
I cannot speak for this particular site, but we are kin. We are not Garo. But we are part of the nation, the same. When Garo hurt each other for vicious means, and we kill one of our own, they're not corrupted by the world. There are consequences for that. Just like there are consequences for what I would do to my husband if I felt I had no other option. They may not kill me. They may just simply take the children and find another mother for them.
They would do that? They would take away your children simply because you were standing up to an abusive husband?
They would take away my children so they would not learn how to kick out.
I met another one of your kind specifically. Not
Yes,
the people, but a person married to the people.
I'm told she is a newlywed.
Mm-hmm.
She is quite the spitfire. And yes, I'm very sorry she was the first impression you had of us.
She was very, very devoted.
Many of us are. I personally follow Owl. Tina is devoted to fighting the worm, I suppose. Many of us are.
Well, that is a very, very good cause. That is one that y'all have readily accepted. I have different causes to fight for.
Yes.
I'm
Alicia
worried that if
tells me,
I became a kin, I would have to devote my mindset as such to following your gods and your traditions and having to forsake my own and having to forsake my property as my own and hand it over to the nation.
here is the thing. Every place is different. Different people in charge, different attitudes, different prejudices, depending on who is in charge. My people, we are very traditional, most of us. My brother arranged for my marriage after, my uncle arranged for my marriage after my father passed away. My choice for my children, if they marry, when they marry, would be that they do it for love. I think that Erin and I have a strong relationship because we could not give up on it. But if I wanted them to marry, I would want them to marry for love. Someone that they loved, someone who would love them. But I am an idealist, if you could not tell.
I am an ideal.
I do not pay what many would call proper reverence to Gaia. Gaia failed me in the past. I pay my respects to Owl. I follow Owl. Owl has never failed me.
So you're saying that kin may not heed total adherence to the All-Mother. They can decide for themselves which totem to follow.
Yes, many of us have our own. Well, like I said, everyone is different. Every place is different. Different families raise their kin in different way. I chose who to follow. My father told me about the owl when I was a young child. Owl would watch over me, that if I was ever lost or afraid, Owl would guide me. And Owl always has.
Explain this reverence to me. Is this a servitude devotion to your totem? Or is this a proper chimage? Trade one favor for another favor and continue protection.
I am not able to interact with spirits the way Aaron is. The same as many of our people. We are often, spirits of the dead are often attracted to us. I can feel when they are close. Called chill, if you will. But I do not see them, I cannot speak to them. However, from the time I was probably 12 or 15 years old, I prayed to Owl. My mother had a shrine. It was the one thing that was always the same no matter where we went. There was a wooden chest, and inside of it, when you opened the lid, there was a shrine to Owl, a shrine to Gaia, a shrine to Luna. And we prayed for them. We prayed to them for the safe return of my father whenever he was gone. And he was gone a lot. When he did not return, it was because he fell in battle. I never learned how. Only that he was fighting some worm things. So, the only part of him that came back was the necklace he wore. It had an ankh made of turquoise and a small token of owl. If that had not come back, I doubt we would ever have been told. Because, after all, my father was a starter. He could have just moved on without us.
They do that often? They just go ahead and abandon their families?
Some do. None of the men in my family ever did. The men in my family are honorable. Not everyone is. That, even as a magi, I'm sure you know. Honor is a scarce thing at times.
If you did have the power to commune with spirits on their level, what would you do?
Right now, I work in the tech industry. I work for a company that makes medical machines. I write code for them. I would do something similar. I would become a hero, I suppose.
Very, very interesting. Would that give you more reverence or more respect from the nation, do you assume?
It may. There are kinfolk who, well, there are tales of kinfolk who have earned renown for their deeds in battle, in service to the nation. I do not need that, Jack. There are only two people in the world I need to look at me with reverence, and they are sitting right there.
The one that will break her leg and the one that will have his heart broken.
Correct.
Thing is, this is going to be a thing between me and her. It has to be on equal terms. I will not have the nation regard me as lesser.
The nation as a whole, does not look upon us as equals, because we are not. We live with one foot in the world of the Gauro, and one foot in the world of the human. We are in a kind of limbo. We belong to both worlds, but not able to be fully in either. You understand that? I doubt you are fully a part of the human world yourself.
I live in many different worlds, many different realms, some high, some standing side beside us, and some very, very dark and below us. I travel all of these realms, and I will not have anybody barring my entry. No man tells me where to go. No thing tells me where I'm forbidden.
I doubt they could, honestly. There are kings who have. They are not the gifts of my people. They are different gifts. They are looked upon more highly for their abilities. If you would be one of those people, you would not be king, necessarily. I'm not even sure how one goes about becoming kin, to be perfectly honest. I think it's something you're born into. But that alone would merit you some respect once people saw your abilities. But if you're all going to be with Alicia, you are going to be with Alicia. I am going to be with Erin, come hell or high water, and the rest of the nation be damned. They will not tell me or my husband how to raise our family. They will not tell me or my husband how to choose a mate for them.
So if it push came to shove, you would stand for the rights that you would enjoy, whether in the mundane world or with the people in the park.
Exactly.
You would be a voice that would be heard.
Correct. I am not a battle-scarred shield maiden. I am not a I'm not a warrior. I can defend myself if need be, but I'm not a warrior. And I don't hold any delusions to the fact that I am. I'm a mother. That is something that is far scarier than a warrior. I raised two children by myself most of the time.
You don't find that a point of contention that you had to? That your husband was able to walk away without repercussions at all?
It was a sore point for a while. But I know that Aaron leaves, that Aaron's reason for fighting, so that we can be safe. He does not fight the worm because the litany tells him to. He fights the worm because he has a family that he wants to protect. These children, they are weak. They are defenseless. You could kill them. Anyone in this room could kill them if they wanted to, and I was not here. It wouldn't take much. You don't think the worm knows that? You don't think the worm would try to harm them?
It's like, I can't begin to presume the motives of something that is utterly chaotic.
It seeks destruction. Death and
Okay,
destruction. That is all it knows how to do now.
that is the problem. Death, destruction, decay. Isn't that a natural state of the world?
It is part of the natural cycle of the world. It is not the end-all, be-all of the world. There is a cycle of life and renewal. You know it. You see it. It happens every year. We have the spring, where flowers bloom and animals make babies. The summer, where animals raise their babies. And the fall, when the leaves on the trees start to wither and the flowers die. And then winter comes and everything is blanketed in snow.
Then the
And then
winter does come, and then flocks come to one little hospital, hoping and pleading and asking for a miracle that does not ever come. And by the end of that winter, they are destroyed.
that is what the
See?
worm does.
Mm.
Massive scale destruction like that, that is a thing of the worm. I cannot say why the people came there. I can say they died because of the worm.
They died because they held too much stock in something or someone that was not willing to stand up and save them.
You should never rely on someone else to save you.
Mhm.
If you cannot save yourself, you will not be saved.
What about the ones that survive afterwards? What is to be done with them?
You're asking me, a mother, what is to be done with those survivors.
Hmm.
They should be, assuming they are, well, you said it was winter, so they are probably not all in good health. The ones that are not in good health, they should be taken in, they should be taken care of, they should be made healthy again. And then they should all be sent home to their families, to their loved ones. Ideally, they should also be checked to make sure they do not have the corruption of the worm inside them.
That is the thing about you people. You have to fight back at everything that's chaotic, everything that's destructive, everything that naturally falls to decay. Do you not accept at some base point that this is a natural state of the world?
It is a natural state of the world. We are told, we are taught by the listening to fight the worm wherever it rears its face. Death is part of the natural order of things. It is not. Death itself is not of the worm. It was not how things were meant to be, I think. But it is not. Death and decay, they are not unnatural. They are part of the cycle of things now. The, the worm. The worm is like cancer, Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as like a body.
Mm-hmm.
Cells grow, and regenerate over time. With of decay, that is the natural order of things. Sometimes cells grow too quickly and you get tumors, and sometimes they are cancerous. Only the cancerous tumors need to be removed. The others, if they pose no health risk to the person, can stay.
And it might in fact be more dangerous to perform unnecessary operations on the body to benign tumors.
Correct.
Let me ask you this. If there is a balance, why is the entire nation fighting against the worm? What happened? Was there a balance at one time? Or are you the ones causing the disbalance?
Once upon a time, there was balance. Gaia created the weaver and the wild and the worm. The wild is creation, the wild is life. The worm was destruction and chaos. The weaver was created to bring order to both. So death and decay did not spread unchecked, but neither life. I do not know how it happened, but the weaver went mad. My father tells me she attacked the worm and infected the worm with her madness. The worm, watching the weaver spread her odor, her odor, unchecked by either the wild or decay, went mad itself, seeking to destroy the excess of odor. While this is happening, while the odor is spreading, you see it, human society, as it is in the river. The wild places are slowly disappearing, but surely.
Is this not progress?
This is not progress.
Is this not progress?
Here is the thing. There was, at the turn of not this century, but the last one, the move to an industrialized society.
Even before then, even way, way before then, you have to think of population densities. Think of the hunter-gatherers. Think about how much they had to walk to gather. Think about how much energy they had to expend to hunt, how much time they spent simply walking, wandering, striding. It wasn't until the advent of domestication, of the creatures of the wild, that people were able to actually settle down in one place, and the population became denser. The idea of harvesting the sun, its energy, into the plant energy, into your own energy, allowed for even more population density to take place. You had the first agricultural societies. Even now, we are increasing our density. We had hovels, and onto houses, now onto skyscrapers. We had the oxen, we had the automobile, we have the oil industry. All of these things are increasing the population density on this planet. All of these technological marvels are also increasing our energy gathering and output on this planet. Is this not progress?
If it is progress, it is a destructive progress. The oil industry, like you say, the automobile. I'm not saying they are inherently bad things, but the way they are now, they are slowly destroying the environment. They pollute the air we breathe. In some places, the water we drink. That is progress at the cost of destruction. That is progress at the cost of our health and the health of our children.
It's progress on the hubris of just one man. Just one man. Not even Ford. Ford himself was a genius. Ford himself assembled the assembly line and set the way for all this amount of progress in the automobile industry. But it was one man's hubris, one man's greed that actually put the lead into the gasoline that produced this whole culture of pollution. That is the reason the atmosphere is so out of whack, because one man decided that putting lead into an engine would make it run just a little bit slower, causing more people to have to buy more gasoline. That man eventually died to his own lead poisoning. But the culture continues, with his little contribution screwing everybody else over. It's the domino effect.
Exactly. You speak of the oil industry. What about the paper industry? Every day, a football field worth of trees cleared from the rainforest. Whether our cities are expanding or not, that is the destruction of the wild. One of the last truly wild places on Earth, actually.
This is progress. This is progress. This is density being built over and over again. Information is density. More paper means more manuals, means more teaching, means more students graduating, means more people to contribute to the information pool, giving out more density to the population. These skyscrapers will reach the atmosphere, I guarantee you that.
Again, not a bad thing. But who is replacing those trees? Trees, and what are they replacing them with? Trees take time to grow. Paper industry, they could use bamboo. Some of them have started using bamboo. They could use hemp. There are many plants that grow faster that would be just as good for producing paper. But for some reason, one man who did not want his profits cut into it, decided to put a stop to that, at least in this nation.
So what you're really fighting against is not all of these wonderful things that society and civilization produces. What you're fighting is the greed of very, very few people, all
Correct.
sitting in their corner offices, all looking at the numbers on their bottom line. You're fighting human greed, and you'll lose.
Perhaps we will. Perhaps we will lose because there are many more humans. They are much more greedy than we would like to admit. Even we are more greedy than we would like to admit. I want the world for my children, and I would give it to them on a platter if I could. I think that is something military said. But I don't want to deny them anything, including experience.
Jack will go ahead and lay down a, yeah?
Tell me something, Jack. Do you want to be with Alicia enough? You're willing to fight if you must in order to do so.
Say again?
Do you want to be with Alicia badly enough that you would fight if you had to in order to do so? I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about fighting prejudice, fighting unkind words, and are you willing to fight for her, to have her as a part of your life?
Jack leaves a $10 note on the table and says, have the apple pie on me. Sort of walks away.
Naja looks after him as he leaves. So that is how it is.
And I take it that is when Alicia is able to actually return with this juice that has taken forever.
Funny how it seems to get so much busier just the moment you stepped away to get the juice, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't understand it.
The
I would,
dwarf came.
I would have thought Jericho would have been here by now.
He came and left. We had a nice talk.
Oh. Okay.
I think I cannot say I know either of you very well, Alicia. He is not an optimist. You are. I think you complement each other.
She nods.
In any case, I am almost certain I left a better impression of him than Bettina did.
Well, that's something. Thank you. And sorry it took so long to get the juice.
You are very welcome, and no apologies necessary. I think he may have been waiting until he and I could speak alone.
Well, that makes sense, but he could have just asked.
Yes, he could have. But there is one question he did not answer. And that was a question I'm not sure he wanted to answer. Or maybe he didn't like the answer he had. Who knows? In any case, I would enjoy your company, Alicia, if you do not have anything else to do this afternoon.
No, I think I've got the next half hour or so free.
Wonderful. Do not get to get out much without these two. Though they are quite pleasant right now. And she'll look at the children and just kind of wonder what Jericho said about the two of them, about the broken leg and the broken heart. And it is nice to have the company of another adult for a change.
Yeah, well, I could say I could imagine, but the closest thing I've ever done to looking after babies is dealing with Aruns that are having a hissy fit.
Oh. And Arun having a hissy fit, easier to deal with than a crying baby. Crying baby, you have to figure out why they are crying. And Arun having a hissy fit, you knock him out, the hissy fit stops.
That's true.
Have you given any thought to whether or not you are prepared to have children to be a mother?
Well, I don't know, but then I kind of figure that nobody knows until it happens anyway. So
That is about how it goes. And when you think you have everything figured out, and you know how it is going to go, it surprises you.
yeah. I've had quite a few surprises, so I know what you mean. But
Ask Aaron to tell you the story sometime of how we met. He would tell it much better than I am, Stefan. After all, stories are his thing.
this is true. I just I do wonder what it would be like for them.
Gayatri? That depends on the kind of man who is the father of the children. Not in the way it will affect their development or their personality, or even whether they are pure or not. That is, Aaron cannot always be with me. He will not always be with me. I accept that. I don't know how you grew up, Alicia. I don't know which one of your parents was Garo. But it is the same for most of us. A Garo parent is not there when you are a child. Not very often, anyway.
I only met my father a few weeks ago.
Ah.
But to be fair, he didn't know that my mother got pregnant, so. And she died when I was a baby, so I have been raised in the foster system with no idea of who my family was until
the change came.
Yeah.
And there was no one watching over you. There was no one watching to make sure you were safe.
No. And that's a good thing about the nation. I can be fairly sure that wouldn't happen if I had any children, but at the same time, to be brought up around that much risk, I don't know what that would be like for them.
You learn quickly. Like I said before, you learn to watch the faces of the North. You learn to be quiet and obedient and remorseful. Because that is when tempers flare. You learn, well, care the most. You learn to watch for the signs of anger, for the signs of rage. Sometimes, as a wife, the girl, that means you tap them on the shoulder and you say, hey, you're angry. I understand. I need for you to calm down. Because you are very threatening when you are angry. I am squishy. Sometimes it means you stand back and you let them have a big tree, or a couch, or a pillow, or a carpeting, until that anger is gone and they are themselves again. But it is not always like that. There was a time before we had children. Whenever Aaron and I worked together, we would talk about everything we did together. We ate together, we drank together, we slept together, we told stories together, we watched TV together, we read together, we read to each other. We told stories to each other. He was my shadow, and I was his. That did not mean he was always by my side. You know a little about my people, I think. But errands and my people. We're wanderers. We can't wander, we feel restless. When we can wander together, we wander together. When we can't, we are apart. That's just the way things are. That's the kind of home I grew up in. It would be different for you. You are not Esperanza. But that doesn't mean you can always be there for your children. Sometimes you will have to leave them with your husband to go fight the war. Aaron fights the war, so we are safe. I do not know why he used to fight. I do not know what reason he had for fighting beyond surviving, and he fought. Beyond not dying, beyond living to see another day. Now he has a family, and that is what he fights for. Tribe does not matter, Alicia. Sex does not matter. At the end of the day, your family is what matters. Do you understand?
Yes, I think so.
Good.
It's just a little hard sometimes figuring out who that is.
That is one of the blessings of an arranged marriage. You know who your family is. You know the people who raised you, and you know the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Beyond going to ACL, don't think you can pick that kind of person outside of it. If you want to be with this man, be with him. Do not let the others dissuade you. If you do not want to be with him, then be honest. Don't feel because he is the first man who ever has a place in your heart that he will be the only man.
She's going to nod somewhat solemnly as she's kind of taking this in.
I thought at one point in time that I would never love any man as much as I loved my father. And then I met Aaron. And then these two became my whole world. Sometimes heartbreak happens. But the heart can be put back together. Just like a broken cup or a broken bone. That can be mended. Not quite as easy as that, but it can be mended. I'm sure it seems strange to hear a woman who did not marry for love speak of love.
No. I mean, I know a lot of people think that way, but love is what it is. It doesn't make sense.
Love is a gift from the spirits. You can say it is a gift from Gaia, you can say it is a gift from Luna, you can say it is a gift from whatever spirit you follow. It is a gift from the spirits. It is what binds us to each other outside of blood. It is what lets us choose who we bind ourselves to. Be careful who you give it to, Alicia. I do not think this man of yours would take advantage of you. There are others who would.
I've never really thought of it as something you choose.
When you fall in love with someone, you don't always choose who that happens with or how it happens, but you choose what you do. You choose whether or not to tell them how you feel. You choose whether or not to keep those feelings silent to yourself. For better or worse, you choose what to do with it. You do not give your love to someone by keeping it to yourself. You have to tell them in order to give it to you.
Well, I just kind of... I mean, I get that he wanted to talk to you by himself, but would have liked to talk to him as well. I guess he's got a lot to think about.
He seems like he leads a very complicated life. I cannot begin to imagine. He spoke a little about things he fears could happen. And he asked for an explanation of why he fed the woman, what exactly it is. And so I told him. He would tell him anyway, it does not matter if he heard it from me or from you. What I think he is a man who is conflicted. He is torn between his world and your world. And I think he's trying to see our world. I think he's trying to see if he can really have a place in our world. Or if he would just be stuck on the outside, dealing with us in order to be with you.
And you're a lot to deal with.
I am lucky. My husband does not have an extended family that I have to deal with. Extended families are not always happy with the match. They are not always accepting of the person you are matched with. And sometimes they can be quite vocal about that. But if the two of you love each other and you have the support of people around you, it won't matter quite as much. The words will still be hurtful. The disapproval will still be hurtful. But it won't hurt quite as much. It's something that can be overcome. Imagine if you felt that the person you love, none of the other people in their life, their family, their friends, would ever really accept you. Imagine how heartbreaking that must feel. Imagine how crushing that must feel. I cannot say he thinks this. But he would always be an outsider. He would never really be king. He would never really be part of the nation.
I suppose it's his decision.
It is. It is a decision that affects the both of you. It is a decision he has to make. Whatever happens, Alicia, it will be okay. I can promise you that. I doubt there is a kin that except perhaps ones that women I have not yet met. But I doubt there is kin within this set that would not support your decision to be with this man if you love him. And I doubt there is a kin in this set who would not accept him as one of us just because he was with you.
I wish the Garou felt the same way.
Garou will be the Garou. They will squabble among themselves. They will fight for honor and renown, and they will fight the war. Let the Garou worry about the Garou.
I am Garou.
Let the other Garou worry about the Garou. If you two are together, you worry about him, he worries about you. Don't worry about anyone else. That is my advice.
That's good advice. Though I do sometimes think it would be nice if we fought the worm before we fought each other.
Rage is a blessing and a curse. It is a double-sided blade. So, now that that is out of the way, what do you do?
Well, I'm a gardener, mostly.
You work with plants.
Yes.
Very nice.
It helps that I've got plant spirit heritage. But then I think that could be kind of reciprocal. That might be why I like working with plants.
It is possible.
And what is it that you do?
I work with a technical firm. I write code for gravity machines. I also sometimes fix and repair those machines. Heart monitors, MRI machines, CT scans. And no, it is a little like playing with a weaver. But not everything of the weaver is bad. The weaver is a part of the world once, a part of the order of things.
See, I have been making that argument. I mean, even the worm has some aspects that make sense. It's just where I mean, the litany says we fight the worm wherever it dwells and wherever it breeds. Yes? It doesn't say we fight the worm full stop.
No.
Because you can't. It's a natural part of the order of things. It's just when it concentrates.
Like I told your Jack, he called himself. Death and decay are a natural part of the cycle. So is order, and so is life. The cycle of life is not a cycle without order. Otherwise,
I kind of think of it a bit like a tree. You've got the creative energy going in at the roots, and it grows all the leaves, but it needs the order in order to put them into the leaves, and then they fall down and they rot and become compost to go back in again. But so the rotting is a good kind of decay, but if the branches start to rot, or the tree itself starts to rot, that's when it becomes a problem.
correct. Like cancer. Sometimes people have tumors. Not every tumor is cancerous. Not every tumor needs to be removed.
Yeah, I find sometimes I tend to go with plant analogies mostly, but yeah, I see what you mean.
I think if it were not for these two, I would be a healer. Well, I am a healer. I'm a mother. I'm a healer of wounds, a healer of bruises, a healer of bumps, a healer of broken hearts and broken legs.
And hungry tummies.
Yes, and hungry belly. And Naja will take the bag on the table, open it up, and start pulling out jars of baby food and spoons. You know how to feed a baby?
Not especially.
It's very simple. I'll show you.
I mean, presumably they can't use spoons yet. Or can they use spoons? Do you just like put it in front of them?
Oh, they can use spoons. They will use it to bang on their head chair or their table or each other. So you do not let the baby hold the spoon.
Okay.
She'll open the jar of baby food and take the spoon, and she'll scoop out some of the baby food and just kind of stick it in the baby's mouth and tilt it back and so that the baby eats the food. You see? It's simple. Spoon, food, mouth, eat. It gets on the face. Do not worry about the food getting on the face. There will always be food on the face. You wipe the face when you're done.
Okay. And
afterwards, there will be a debit change in the basket, where you do not worry about the food on the face.
okay, I'm actually going to try a Dex Athletics roll for feeding the baby. Just because it would be hilarious if I botched. She's got pretty good Dex, but this is something that she's never done before, so it might go horribly. I'm just thinking it would be hilarious if she botched. Which she doesn't. No, she manages fine.
Good. You see? It's easy. Well, this is easy. The part that came before is not so much. Especially once they started getting teeth.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun.
You're a mother. You will do anything for your children.
At least they're not meant as babies. The teeth on those would be really, really worrying.
Oh, if they were meant as children, I'm not sure I would have survived. Being brought to birth once was painful enough. Even both the one of them was painful enough. I thought I was going to pass out after the second one. I think I might have, actually.
Well, at least that's one thing they wouldn't have to worry about with Jericho.
Oh no, you will never have to experience this kind of pain.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that. But I meant the whole Metis thing.
Oh, yes, no. Jericho, I am very certain will not make you a Metis. I cannot say I know that much about Ninja, but he's not a werewolf. So,
Yes.
he will not make you a Metis.
Yeah.
Probably. With like 99% certainty. Tell me, I have to ask now, because I assume you two have been together for a while. You have already at least experimented with each other. Do you think about birth control?
Pardon?
Have you thought about birth control?
Thought about? Yes, but it kind of happened on impulse, and
Do you at least know where
once so far, so
do you at least know where you were in your cycle when it happened?
pretty much right near the start.
Good. There is a chance, but only a small one.
Out of character, I rolled the dice.
Excellent.
And no pregnancy this time.
But you do not need drugs for that. You do not even need a condom for that. Just watch where you are in your cycle. Use the tests that they use, or that they give to women who are trying to get pregnant. And you can avoid, well, you can better avoid being pregnant. So,
I mean, I know that some people joke about using condoms, but apparently they're not always. Well, I mean, they're not always effective anyway. But
condoms? No, they break. You can damage them by opening the packaging properly. I will tell you one thing about them though. They make very good, put water in them.
Water skins?
Thank you. Yes, they make good water skins. They break, but they are good at holding water. They can hold quite a bit of it. Just make sure you get the kind that don't have a bunch of chemicals in them. That would not be good to drink, I'm certain.
Well, I guess that's another thing that we'll have to talk about at some point.
These are all things that will be discussed at some point. So tell me your mentor aggressively dislikes him.
Not exactly.
Aggressively
I don't think
dislikes
Blitz,
the idea of the two of you together?
I don't think Blitz really has. I mean, I don't think he likes Jericho, but I don't think he actively dislikes Jericho. It's more the way that everyone else has been treating you because of him. He doesn't like us being together, I think because he wants to protect me, not because he dislikes Jericho.
That matches what I know of this creature, or at least what I've been told of him. He's the wolf, and it's his job to watch out for all of us. Kin, Garo, little babies that you don't know what they are yet, it's his job to watch out for all of us within the set. He is your mentor. It's especially his job to look after you. He's taken that upon himself, in addition to watching out for everybody. So yes, I think he's probably trying to protect you. If you do not need that kind of protecting, tell him so. Talk to him about it.
I did punch him in the face twice.
I thought you were a child of Gaia.
Yeah, but he keeps telling me to punch people in the face.
And you listen to him. He's a gat.
It seemed like a good plan at the time.
Well, perhaps you taught him a lesson about telling people to punch other people in the face.
Yeah. To be fair, he's huge and
Oh, he is quite a large man.
yeah. So it's not like I even kind of bruised him. Probably stung a bit, but
I could never bruise Aaron, no matter how hard I tried. Not that I would.
well, it's not like I was in Krenos or something when I punched him.
He is a very steady man. Which is a good thing. I need him to be sturdy so he comes home in one piece.
I should probably work on being sturdier.
Have you talked to Jericho about that? About the fact that many kin find themselves without a mate because they fought this battle.
Not really, but I mean, we've both fought Banes before, so
You are lucky. He could fight beside you if he chooses to align his causes with ours, with yours. You could help him with his causes even. One of you. If you have children, and I'm certain you will, I do not think, whether you've given it much thought or not, I do not think you are the type of Daro who would forsake the opportunity to have a family. Some of us do. Some of us decide we don't want that for ourselves and we leave and we don't come back. That's fine. It's their choice. Not a choice I'd make, but it's their choice. You will have to decide who will stay with the children and who will fight the war. It's usually a very easy decision. Because one of us is Garo and one of us is Kin. One of us is equipped to battle the one. The other one of us, not so much. Between the two of you, if he can fight a Bane, he can fight the world.
yeah. Well, that's another thing that we need to talk about.
There are many things you should talk about with him. If something were to happen to one or both of you, the sept would make sure that children were cared for. And positive your kin in the sept, regardless of what the Garo decided, make certain that children were cared for. I would probably adopt them as my own. I have two anyway. That's two more. But just because your children will be cared for if something happens to you, that's not a reason to go off being reckless. If something else happens to myself, this would make certain my children were cared for. If something were to happen to Eric, this would make sure that myself and my children would be cared for, assuming I was not the one who killed her. If something were to happen to both of us, the children would grow up not knowing their parents, not knowing but their families, not knowing where they came from.
And I know what that's like.
It's not something you would choose, is it?
No,
If you could choose.
to be honest, a lot of this I wouldn't choose. But
It's the way things are, and you have to make the best of it.
yeah.
There was a time where I was not very fond of my husband at all. That's why I say you should have him tell you the story. He tells it much better than I do. But we were able to meet each other halfway. When we met each other halfway, we realized that we are not so different. If I asked him to stay with me, to come home with me, I think he would. If I asked him not to send me away, I think the same. If I flat out refused to leave, there wouldn't be anything to do to make me budge. I don't intend to leave here. Not because he is here. Well, partly because he is here. Mostly because I feel safe here. Even knowing what is going around, I feel safer here than I have been in a long time. I don't have to worry what will happen to my children if for some reason I don't come home. I can relax. I can be myself. I don't have to try to hide my accent. It's a very nice feeling indeed. I'm not even sure why I'm telling you that.
I don't know. People often tell me things, to be honest. It might be because I listen.
You listen and you have a friendly face. It might also be because you are a child of Gaia who works with plants. You are a healer.
Yeah,
Doesn't necessarily mean the only thing you heal are things that are injured or broken. Anyway, Alicia, thank you for for this. I won't take up any more of your time. I am going to take the children home and give them their bath.
Okay. Sorry that I seem to have managed to get some on his eyebrow.
That's okay.
They're quite squirmy.
They are a baby. You should see them with the cereal, the little O's.
Yeah.
Yeah. All over the floor. Makes me wish we had a dog. Then I would not have to sweep up the mess.
Well, maybe you could get one.
Oh yes. Let's bring a dog into this set. Let's bring a dog into a home with a girl. Well,
I could give you some dog biscuits.
Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Maybe they wouldn't react as badly as I think they would.
I could give you some dog biscuits.
Dog biscuit? Maybe we will get the dog.
It's my pack totem.
It would be a good way, I think, to get the children used to the four-legged form. It is probably the first form they learned. Hopefully it will be the only form, other than Homer they ever see.
Unless they grow up and marry a guru.
Unless they grow up and marry a guru, yes. Although if I had a choice for them, they would never see Kronos. Kronos is terrifying.
Yeah. I have to say, it was probably the moment when I really realised what I feel about Jericho, was when I was standing there in Krynos form and he still came towards me to give me a hug. It doesn't sound big, but
it is. It is not like it is with the rest of the humans. Naja will begin packing up the baby items and cleaning up the kids' faces before taking them out of the high chair or unfolding the stroller and taking them out of the high chair and strapping them in. She will do this as she speaks. It is not delirium, but that does not mean it is not terrifying. But to know that such a frightening thing is looking out for it, is on your side. That is a very safe feeling. At least for him. To know that that terrifying figure would literally rip anything in half that tried to hurt me. It is a very comforting thought.
ooh, maybe. You know how a lot of dads give their kids like piggyback rides?
Yes.
Aaron could do that in wolf form, and they could hold on to his fur.
We would have to get a small saddle with straps to hold them in place. Have you seen how quickly he moves? I'm quite certain he would shake them off or make them sick. But yes, he would give them piggyback rides. He would give them piggyback rides and whoopers.
Well, they're not really piggyback rides then. They're wolfpack rides.
Yes, wolfpack rides. Wolfpack rides and whoopers. I shall have to give him this idea. I rather think he would enjoy it.
Don't tell him it came from me.
The idea came from who now?
I don't know. It just dropped out of the sky like a little owl whispered it in your ear.
It just, yes, a little bird whispered it in my ear. A tiny little thing.
Blame Pelican. No, don't really, because the spirits will get upset if we blame them.
Yes, they will. But to say a tiny little bird told me.
Yeah.
That's not quite untrue. Anyway, Alicia, have a good afternoon. I will see you later, I'm sure. And Naja will make her way out of the cafe.
And Alicia will get her stuff together and make her way out to the cafe as well. And there, with two full toddlers being strolled away by their mother, the scene will end.